Hey guys, it's Josh, and I wanted to make a video to show you my new binder. I've taken a few days to kind of feel it out a little bit. So I just show it to you now. This is my new vendor Spek. It's an A5 manager. The model number is 335. Personal organizer cover, I guess they call it. Now you can see it's a glossy red, and the camera is actually rendering it quite well. You can see it's quite a lot deeper in color. It's less orange than my Winchester, which I didn't think to bring in here with me to do this. So I can't compare the two, but I'm sure I will at some point. If you're not familiar with these, Vendor Spek, I'll put the link to their website. They are a small leatherworking company in the Netherlands, and they make these at least this model is made to order. So you can select what leather you want, what stitching you want. You can put a different kind of leather inside and outside. As you can see, I got my initials embossed on this in gold. You can also do them in silver or blind, so they're just slightly indented into the leather, embossed, I guess I should say. And the A5 size, you have the choice between 35mm rings, which is this size, or 25mm. So 25mm is pretty much just bang on about an inch in diameter. These are 35 is almost 1.5 inches. I think 38mm is 1.5 inches, so it's fairly close. And you can choose the hardware color. So I chose gold, so I actually have the press stud is gold, and the rings are gold. So that's pretty cool. It is gorgeous. Guys, this is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful book. And I mean, I was just kind of in awe when I opened it. It came packaged to me. It was in a display box, but it was inside a plastic wrap. And when I opened, I pulled it out and took the plastic wrap off of it, and the smell hits you. It's leather. It's nice. As you can see, it's pretty glossy. It's not like plasticky glossy at all. It's naturally glossy. It's I think they called this full grain calf hide. So they have this. They also have various others, including Napa leathers, which are softer and have a much more matte finish to them. But this seemed like a very classic look. And if you haven't seen my other videos, I bought this really intending for this to serve as a work planner, so I wanted it to look very professional, and I think it definitely does. It feels great, it looks great. The construction on this is flawless. Every stitch on here is perfect. The cutting, beautifully cut, beautifully finished. I don't know if you can see kind of just how tidy everything is in here. It really, it just looks amazing. I've gone on many times about that binders should have a cover, spine, and hinge construction. I guess I can sort of show you that on this one. So you see when you close it, so you can see the definition. The spine is slightly curved. It has its own, the ring mechanism, but it creates a stiffness. This is a very heavy ring mechanism. You can feel the weight of it on this side. And then you've got the covers, which you see are very clearly defined. And then in between, there's the corner. So the stiffening material that's built into this, there's stiffening material in the cover, and then the spine is stiff, but then the hinge has no stiffening material, so it actually closes like a book. Novel. Filofax does not build most of their binders this way. they just have stiffening material that goes right around the spine, which contributes in models like the Finsbury to them not wanting to lie flat, especially when they're new. The Cuban suffers from that too, for example. My Cavendish it was very, very noticeable that there was no hinge definition whatsoever. It just was literally just like wrapped around the rings. The advantage to this kind of construction is that you can maintain some stiffness to the cover and still have a binder that naturally opens, well, you can see, more than flat. I mean, it's got that flexibility in that location. The floppiness is defined, as opposed to like the whole cover being flop. And which really, I know some people really like that, but to me it just always looks untidy, and I'm not a big fan. So, when I got this, I had a panic about the rings, because the first time I opened them, when I went to close them, the bottom 3 did not close. I immediately freaked out, and I wrote to Petra van der Spek about it, and she wanted me to send her a picture. But actually, over the course of while I was at work the other day with this, over the course of the day, as I added some documents I opened and closed the ring several times to add things to this, and when I did, every time the ring seemed to close better and better and better. What it feels like was happening was that the ring mechanism was sort of the binding a little bit when it was closing, and the more that I open and close it, the less that it's binding. It's like it's working itself together. So I'm just going to keep an eye on it. I definitely get the impression that they'll just send the ring mechanism on this is replaceable, and so if it gives me trouble, I think they'll just send me a new one, and I can just insert it. So swap them out. But it seems to be fine now. The other thing about this binder, and this really tends to affect most large ringed binders, is that it really needs some page lifters. When I go to close it, see what happens to those pages? That they get kind of stuck. I think because of the larger ring size, the angle where the rings come into the closure the spine is more acute than it would be in a smaller ring binder, and the pages have to have more distance that they have to sort of travel by themselves. So when I do this, I get this, and you can't even close it, and that bothers me. That is what page lifters are designed to alleviate. That's what they're for. It's not so you can stick your sticky notes to them. It's not so you can stick your pen loops to them. It's not to serve as a dashboard. It is to help the pages naturally move up the rings as you close the binder. So I'm going to need to find something like that to serve this need. And like I say, I think that this is not a defect of this binder. It has to do with the fact that the rings are quite large. Like you just saw, you can help them around. So I'm going to look and see if I can find, perhaps buy some Franklin Quest ones and then drill them out on the other end for the 6-hole configuration or something like that. So I ordered this binder with a fill of inserts, so which were advertised as A5, and as in my last video I went over, I spent quite a lot of time finding A4 size paper that I could cut into 2 A5 sheets, developing using Stephen Ray's printables to customize a day planning template for my needs. I spent quite a lot of time doing that, printing them out, etc. When this came, and I went to put those pages that I created in, I saw that they are not the same size as sorry, this is upside down. They were not the same size as the pages that came with the binder. So this came with a week on 2 pages with A to Z tabs, lots of special note pages, project planning pages, etc. Very kind of cool stuff. They're nicely designed, but I just noticed them, like, they're not the same size. See how far it sticks out, and it actually obscures all the tabs behind it because they stick out so far. So, and they're a little bit shorter on both ends than the stuff that... Looking at these, I'm thinking, you know what? These look like... The difference in dimensions is really similar to the difference between A5 and half letter, which is the 5.5 by 8.5 size, which is very common in the US. So I was at my desk at work, and I took one of these pages out, and I folded a letter-sized document on my desk, and guess what? These are 5.5 by 8.5. The fill that came with it is 5.5 by 8.5, but with the 6-ring hole configuration. So I had a momentary freak out about that too. I'm like, oh my god, I spent so much time and money on these things. But then I realized, you know what? In the US, 5.5 by 8.5 is much more convenient and much easier to find than A5. It gives me a lot more flexibility in terms of what goes in here because I can actually buy inserts at Staples. They have the wrong ring configuration though. So, but my favorite planning page that I've ever used was the desk-sized reference day timer, day on 2 pages. And so I kind of, which is designed for 7-ring binder, but I had some from a couple of years ago that I used, so I just took a few pages from my archive and I punched them to fit. And this is what I ended up with. I don't know if you guys can see. You know, you get a bit of a Swiss cheese effect because there's so many holes, but they work perfectly, and as you see, they perfectly match the page size of the insert fill that came in here. They're like maybe a millimeter narrower, but they sit on the rings just fine. You see that the outermost hole on the 7-ring design is slightly further inbound on the page than the 6-ring configuration is. So that hole just becomes slightly elongated and moves a slightly closer towards the edge of the page. And then the other holes just are completely separate, and so you end up with more holes in the page. So you have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 holes altogether. But they fit on the rings fine. They do not feel like they're going to rip out or anything, which was what I was worried about. So after thinking about it, looking at this and contemplating it a little bit, I decided that, you know what? This is not actually a bad thing. I can easily print documents at work in half letter size. I can just cut things in half. I can fold letter size documents in half and punch them and insert them in this, and they'll all match. I need it all to match. I do not want to intermingle A5 with 5.5 by 8.5 paper. That will drive me insane. So this actually makes things a lot easier. I don't need to buy a lot of A5, and if I decide that this isn't going to work, I can convert the whole system to all A5 pretty easily, and so I have options here. I don't know, I'll just cover the names, but I made like a training checklist matrix here to use, and I just print, this is just half letter, see how it fits perfectly, so I'm pretty thrilled about that. But anyway, so that's the inserts. They did come with a diary, and quite a lot of other stuff. It didn't come with maps, it didn't come with any plastics, like there were no top-loading envelopes, there were no card holders, anything like that. It also did not come with page markers. I went to my local stationers and bought 2 Filofax ones. Sadly, they only had black. I assume that they make A5 size ruler page finders in frosted or clear too, but I didn't see any on any of the websites, and I didn't see any at the local stockist. So I think if you know where to get them, let me know. If you have some that you're not using, I'd be happy to buy them from you, because I don't like black ones. But anyway, these will suffice for the moment. And what else? I don't know. They're pretty nice. It's basically the same stuff that goes into a Gilio binder. So you've got a lot of different kinds of, we have goals pages, meeting pages, project pages, contacts, notes, appointments, all this stuff. I don't know if I'm going to use all of this, but they're nice. They have nice design. The line weight is nice. The ink colors are nice. The paper color is nice. They're pretty thin, so they don't take up a lot of space. Nice tabs, etc. Nice set. So, and finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about the binder itself in terms of kind of some of the practical aspects. A lot of people are ordering these. They'll make them with or without the cover stiffener. I would say that the covers have some stiffness to them, certainly. They're not excessively stiff. They definitely bend. They bend much more than like my old Franklin Quest binders, which don't bend at all. Like the cover is very, very rigid. These have some give. I don't know, whatever your taste is, but this wouldn't be objectionable. The stiffness of these covers is not objectionable to me at all. And, I like them stiff, but I wouldn't see it being objectionable to other people either. And my impression is from people who've had, Susan has had her vendor Spek for a while, and I gather that it becomes more flexible with time. The pocket arrangement, this front pocket is fairly tight, but you can get into it. It's certainly not like a Finsbury. It has lots of card slots. I think these are 2 stacks of 5 of my business cards. Regular credit cards slide into these ones just fine. So what? You've got basically 12 card slots altogether, plus this pocket here, which is a wider one, so you can stuff some stuff in there. I'm probably going to... I usually keep some note stationery, so envelopes, cards, small sheets of paper, and stamps. So I'll probably put all of those in here. In the back... This really needs page lifters. In the back, you have a full height pocket that is gusseted on one side. So I had been a little bit worried. I like to have a secretarial pocket, but this one doesn't have one. But it does. The gusseted pocket works fine, and I did fold some letter-sized pages and tuck them in here, and they slide in and out just fine. And the gusset makes it a little bit easier to get stuff in and out. So I think that this will be fine for my needs. I don't need to fit paper that's larger than 8.5 by 11. The only thing I'm thinking is that a full-length business envelope is longer. It's like 12 inches, I think, and that won't fit in here. So you'd have to just tuck it inside the cover, which isn't very secure. So that would be one nice thing, but it's not in any way a deal breaker. And you have a zip pocket here. I don't use zip pockets really in my binders, but you've got one. So I'm not sure. And again, it's fairly tight. I think that the gusset on this pocket helps make this pocket easier to get into also, because it makes the whole structure more flexible. You do have a little slip of leather to protect the pages from the zipper, which is nice. Maldens don't have that, and I remember that the front pages in my Malden always got pretty banged up from the zipper, so that's a nice feature. I have one pen loop. It is elasticated. This is a small pen, and I don't need anything bigger than this. I am on the lookout for a nice gold pen to carry in here, but it's got to write well. These Zebra G301s are really nice, really nice workhorse pens that write really well, and they're not expensive, so I don't worry about losing them. And I am going to look for something similar to this. I want it to write, its ability to write well is more important to me than what it looks like, so I'll be on the lookout for another pen. It came to my attention after I ordered this that they will actually make this with a second pen loop in the front cover. I wish that I had asked about that, because I absolutely would have ordered one. I always carry a pen and a pencil, and so I did order some of those, what are they, Lecterm pen loops. In the US, the best deal I found on them was from Levenger, actually. You can get a set of 4 for $16, so that's $4 each, which is cheaper than I found them elsewhere. And right now, when I just ordered some more the other day, they had a promo code for free shipping. So I got 4 for $16, $4 each. 4 of them will last me for quite a long time. So, and I do have 2 of these fly leaves in here, so I can attach it to one. This one in the back is actually wider. You see, it's actually the same height as the tab. So I can stick it to this one. It definitely will keep the pen loop from interfering with my tabs, which is nice. What else? I don't know, guys. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm really happy with it. One thing I definitely like, you see, when the strap is unsnapped, it naturally falls out of the way, which is nice. Those of you with Maldens will be familiar with the, like, this all the time, which is annoying. The fact that this falls over that way naturally is very nice. And yeah, I mean, the only thing that, like I'm saying, the only thing that I'm really seeing that would really improve this is a set of page lifters. You see what happens when I just close it, how they all get wrapped around the rings. So I'll need to do something about that. And my cautionary tale. If you get one of these, or I suppose if you get any ring binder, and the rings seem to be off when you first receive it, definitely try opening and closing them several times to see. It might just be the mechanism has bound up because it hasn't actually been opened and closed before. This one, it just seems like the more that I open and close it, the more smoothly it's operating, so I think it's just going to get better. And looking for binders that don't have the mechanism riveted into the construction of the binder, into the cover, means that they are pretty easily replaceable, and so look for that too. They're still not as easily replaceable as I really like the way that the old Franklin Quest did it with, where the ring mechanisms actually screw into the back plate with a pair of hex head screws. That works really nicely. It makes them user serviceable, very easy to replace, very secure when they're in there. I wish more people, but this is a nicer looking construction, and they basically, they slide on sort of like a keyhole slot, so they are definitely replaceable without being obvious how they come out. So anyway, I'm going to stop talking now. I've been talking for a really long time about this binder. I hope you've gotten a good sense of what you'd be getting if you bought one. If you're wondering about cost, this one altogether, the binder with the inserts, with the embossing, the rings, etc., shipped to my door, came out to a grand total at the current exchange rate of $335. Not cheap at all. It is cheaper than a Gilio binder. It is quite a lot more expensive than a Filofax, or most Filofax binders. And I think it's well worth the money. It's very, very nicely constructed, and I think it's really cool. I mean, I added $35 to this with the embossing, which I think is a really nice feature. For me, I was really looking for a permanent binder. I know some people like to buy and sell a lot and swap and things, so they wouldn't want to do this. But I think I really like how it looks. So, anyway, it's light. I forgot to mention that it much more than most Filofax A5 size binders that I've held. This is not. I haven't weighed it, but it doesn't feel as heavy. So that's another point in its favor. It's the ring mechanism. Like I said, the ring mechanism feels quite solid, but the rest, it's not. Overall, it's not that heavy. So now I'll really stop talking. Have a great day, everybody. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll keep showing you as this develops. Right now, it's very bare bones, but hopefully, in a few weeks, I'll have it more completely pulled together. Take care.